Vive la différence.
Nevertheless, my dearest Faith, I can't resist asking the question, why can't a woman be more like a man?
'Cause we are women.
Why is reasoning something women rarely do? Why isn't logic easier to apply? Maths and sums are tasks we find they barely do. Only getting the answer, if it hits them right in the eye, why can't a woman be more like a man? Men are so clever at patterns and shapes. Our minds are more agile, though they say we're like apes. We solve problems without a big fuss. Why can't women be like us?
'Cause we are women. W-O-M-E-N. We can beat you men by coming up with faster words than you. Hit a perfect note and sing a song with voices strong and true. Get our brains to work, our hands and knees with efficiency and speed. Look at her face with insight and grace. What more do we need? 'Cause we are women. W-O-M-E-N. I say it again. Come on, girls. Women.
The producer of that Battle of the Sexes and the psychologist who set the tests will be on tomorrow's Open Air. If you'd like to put a question or comment to them tomorrow morning, please ring now on 061 814 0424. Next week, QED meets Dr. Robert White, an American brain surgeon who believes that ultimately whole-body transplants can be justified to sustain a healthy human brain. His ideas are investigated at 9:30 next Wednesday.
In Making Out on Friday, Line Electronics try to find ways of increasing efficiency.
Hello, my name's Tamsin. My job is to help you to find ways in which you can feel more positive about yourselves. Think very hard about your best kept secret.
Making Out, Friday at 9:30 on BBC1.
Now, back to this Wednesday night, and it's Sports Night with Steve Ryder.
This evening, two places remain to be claimed in the fifth round of the FA Cup. We'll be concentrating in particular on events at Upton Park, West Ham and Swindon, and also upcoming events in Las Vegas. Nothing for Lloyd Hannigan to regain, but a lot to hang on to. We set the scene from Vegas for Saturday's big fight. Hannigan's defence Marlon Starling's world title challenge. It's Ski Wednesday, and how the mighty can fall. Permin Zurbriggen training today in Colorado. The great man crashes, but thought to be not seriously hurt. All the news from the World Championships and action from the men's and women's combined slalom. Before that, though, it's West Ham's renewed attempts to find a way past Swindon's Fraser Digby. And a replay roundup for all those with the fifth round feeling. I must also mention that we'll be joined by Ted Dexter, tipped to be the new chairman of the England Test selectors, and also that Sebastian Coe pulled out of tonight's 800 metres in Genoa. We'll have the story of that, plus highlights of the action that did take place. FA Cup, though, first of all, and 4th Division Grimsby, the giant killers tonight. Reading 1, Grimsby Town 2. Substitute Kevin Jobling's goal 4 minutes from time gives Grimsby a 5th round tie away to the cup holders Wimbledon. We'll see the goals from that later, as well as all last night's replays. But now it's our visit to Upton Park, the FA Cup 4th round replay, West Ham against 2nd Division Swindon. They've met 4 times in the competition, and on 2 of those occasions, 1964 and 1975, West Ham went on to win the cup. That's the kind of omen they cling to at Upton Park these days, where John Motson is our commentator.
The performance of 21-year-old Fraser Digby was the main reason why this was the only one of the weekend's 4th round ties not to produce a goal. But can he keep another clean sheet against a West Ham side who take on a new zest when it comes to cup ties? Liam Brady, who had so much to do with their victory over Arsenal in the last round, has shaken off a groin strain and takes his place in an unchanged side. Alan Dickens, again, one of the substitutes. Swindon bring back Dave Hockaday after injury. Despite the number 9 shirt, he'll play at right back. Number 2, Alan McLaughlin, will have a more attacking role. Swindon are without forward Steve White, suspended, Duncan Shearer, injured, and Charlie Henry dropped to substitute. And the only out-and-out striker is David Geddes, who won a Cup Winners' Medal with Ipswich 11 years ago. Well, John Lyle will remember 1975 when West Ham beat Swindon and went on to win the Cup. It was his first season as manager here. And his opposite number, Lou Macari, on the Swindon bench. He played in 3 finals for Manchester United in the space of 4 years in the late 70s. The referee is Mike Peck from Kendal. Swindon in white shirts playing from left to right, and Foley, number 7, on the chase immediately. Here's Steve Potts for West Ham. Mark Ward. Swindon play a 3-man central defensive system, and they've only conceded 3 goals in their last 6 games. They didn't mean to pass to the referee, though. There's Alvin Martin. Foley well forward again. He's got support from Bodin, the left back here. But the break for West Ham. Ward to Rossenia. Challenge was by Gittins, who marked Rossenia on Saturday, but this is Ward once more. West Ham will want to get this done with tonight if they can, because if there's a 3rd match, it won't be played until the 15th of February, just 3 days before the next round. Kelly. That was Cornwall who touched it back, so it's got to be a corner. Tony Gale has made his way forward. And Alvin Martin's there as well now. It's Ward to swing it across to Brady. And that deflection will take it out for a corner on the other side from Liam Brady's effort. Devonshire short to Gale. and again. McLaughlin for Swindon. Cox for West Ham. And they're onside. It was Dix to Devonshire. Nice triangle on the left. Dix again. Brady again. And Devonshire again. Ward to Kelly. Bit of holding off there by number 5, Colin Calderwood, the Swindon captain. It's indirect. But if the ball gets touched to Mark Ward, he's quite capable of trying a shot from that sort of distance. He's just moved away now, and Brady's waving him back. Brady's kick. Rossenia's there! Well, it was his goal that beat Arsenal at Highbury in that third-round replay, and he got free again there, did Leroy Rossenia. Beautifully chipped in, the free kick. Vintage Brady, this. Little pause and a shuffle, and the perfectly placed ball, and the Swindon defenders couldn't get there. So the opening quarter of an hour, and already there's going to be a substitution because Alvin Martin has broken down again, as he did at Arsenal in the last round, and so Gary Strodder comes on. We saw this same switch at Highbury when he did very well, Gary Strodder, and the West Ham captain suffers again from the injury jinx. Gather it's a hip injury that forced Alvin Martin off this time. Geddes. Ince. Every touch of Brady's is being applauded by the crowd. This is Devonshire. West Ham moving well. Ince. Moving very well. Moving superbly well. Well, Paul, it's very much in the West Ham mould of players who've been schooled with good close control, and he's got a powerful shot on him too, as he's shown before. Exciting piece of football. Free kick. Geddes was fouled. Just waiting for the referee to get the West Ham players back, and in the meantime Calderwood has made his way to the far side of the penalty area. This is played to Bodin. Geddes. Jones. Foley in the middle with Cornwall. And here comes McKnight. Oh, and that's Hockaday! And it was cleared dramatically by Brady, I think. It was Liam Brady on the line from David Hockaday, with the goalkeeper out of his ground. A real threat from Swindon. And a corner to be taken by Bodin. Calderwood with the flick on. Geddes is in there. So is Gittins with the overhead kick. And McKnight just going through a period of anxiety. He came for that original cross, the goalkeeper. Didn't get it. It was a very good volley by David Hockaday. Well on target. And Brady the man for all seasons and all places. There's a bit of murmuring among the West Ham supporters because Swindon have shown on the counter-attack that they're certainly not here just to make up the numbers tonight. In fact, at the moment, they're winning the 50-50 balls too. Foley. And Foley has been penalised, and that sort of challenge is worrying referees at the moment. And Mike Peck is going to make his point pretty emphatically there. There was a use of the elbow, if I'm not mistaken, and you might get a better idea from this of what happened. Foley went in there with Steve Potts, and there's the arm. Look at that. That's what's bothering people in football. A big talking point just now, and Foley is booked. Point of some discussion, bearing in mind that a Wimbledon player was sent off the pitch for allegedly a similar incident on Saturday. So Foley has to be careful now. There's Geddes, and here comes Foley. Calderwood. Swindon's defence doing its reputation quite a lot of good in this first half, and Bowden anxious to get the free kick taken quickly. Jones is down injured. And players gone on around him, and he's just getting to his feet now. Gale for West Ham. Foul. Linesman flagged. Gittins on Rosenia. Devonshire to Ward, the shot could be on here, 25 yards, Mark Ward, well gathered. Foley. Dennis. Bowden. Offside flag was up anyway there, wouldn't have mattered. McLaren with the free kick for Swindon. Foley. And a corner off Potts. Oh, and there's some pushing in there. Liam Brady getting involved with Colin Calderwood before the kick's taken. Rosenia having to defend as well. There was a whole crowd on the near post. Brady is still complaining to the referee about the antics of the number 5 in there. But a corner again to Swindon. 5 minutes left in the first half. Bowden! Saved by McKnight's feet. And West Ham living dangerously. Bad ball by Kelly, straight to McLaughlin, and now Foley offside. A let-off for West Ham there, really. It was David Kelly's mistake. But just earlier, from that last corner, what a scuffle there in the West Ham penalty area, and the defenders didn't know where they were, and Bowden had a shot which wasn't the most powerful in the world, but it brought a save from McKnight, and the near post corner again. It was headed out, and here's Bowden. scuffed it, really, but look at that. Jones. Good touch by Rosenia, but Ward's pass for Kelly, little overhit. Well, on the evidence of that 45 minutes, you have to say that Lou Macari and Chick Bates got their tactics absolutely right, because Swindon absorbed what West Ham had to offer early on, and then, if anything, looked the more dangerous side. And West Ham were grateful to get one off the line, and the second division team very much in the hunt at half-time. The attendance tonight at Upton Park, 24,756. A good turnout, including a sizable band from Swindon. And both sets of supporters wondering which team will go through to visit Charlton Athletic at Selhurst Park in the 5th round. It's still wide open here. Rosenia to Ward. Delicate ball by Brady. Potts. Little touch into Ince, can he drive it? Oh, and Digby! Good save, and then had a bit of luck when it came out, because Kelly couldn't turn it in. Paul Ince struck it well, he did his part, and so too did the keeper. So West Ham start the second half as though they mean business. Brady found Potts. Little touch from him into Ince. Well struck. There's the save. Kelly couldn't get it in. This is Kelly. Rosenia. Good effort. The best we've seen so far from West Ham. Certainly from one of the twin strikers. Hasn't had a chance to get away from Gittins very often tonight, Leroy. Foley and Dix tangling. Devonshire. Rosenia's flick, Ward, Kelly by the penalty spot. But West Ham's fluent movement of earlier cup ties this season is at the moment being stifled, and even Brady's given the ball away to McLaughlin, and Swindon have 4 players in attack here. This is Hockaday. It's in that corner of the pitch where most of the Swindon supporters are gathered, to the right of Hockaday. And we're 10 minutes into the second half with no score. Bowden. Geddes. Oh, Foley with a chance here for Swindon, surely. Good save by McKnight. And it had to be. The nearest either side has honestly come to scoring. And Foley's cross, because McKnight stopped him when the hardest part seemed to have been done. Brady. Gale. And Gittins is waiting for the keeper and then decided not to. Good ball by Bowden, the left back, to McLaughlin. Swindon passing the ball well at the moment. The referee spots the foul by Ince on Cornwall. And if you were a West Ham supporter, you'd be a little bit nervous at the moment. There's Geddes, still a handful. And Cornwall in there as well. Still West Ham can't clear it. Calderwood. Gittins. Now, perhaps it could be a counter-attacking position for West Ham. Brady has found Ward with a good ball. Kelly's made a good run forward. He must be offside, he is. He went too early. Referee has played an advantage anyway. Well, we've been playing now for an hour, and second division Swindon Town are holding Littlewoods Cup semi-finalists West Ham United, and holding them for the moment in some style. Foley, handball. Devonshire. Brady. Three the other way for West Ham. Kelly's going near post now. Don't think the pitch is helping West Ham one little bit. The ball's bobbling a lot. Mind you, it's the same for both sides. Brady. Devonshire. Dix. And Kelly surely. Ince. Brasenia. Goal! Leroy got it. Any one of three could have scored. And West Ham breathe a huge sigh of relief. Julian Dix plays it in. Kelly goes near post, doesn't get it. Ince can't get it. Rossenia scrambles it in by the post. So the player whose goal won the third round replay at Arsenal gives West Ham a chance to settle in what was becoming a difficult replay at home to Swindon. 62 minutes, and Swindon will reflect perhaps how near Foley was just a few minutes earlier to scoring at the other end. Now it's a different game. Gary Strotter not very happy with Mr. Peck, but it's a free kick to Swindon. Goes Cornwall. This is Jones. Oh, charged down by Ince, who really felt that. Bowden. And still. Flags up. Foul by Potts. Now danger here for West Ham. A really good attacking position for Swindon Town. Geddes, Cornwall and Calderwood all there. Oof, it needed that clearance by Julian Dix. This is a moment in the match when West Ham's resolve is being really tested. And it stands up to the test. It was Strotter who cleared. Ward to accelerate. Kelly's gone away down the centre and Ward goes alone. What a thrilling run. Brasenia is far post now. Here he is. Oh, what might have been. He applauds a really great run by Mark Ward. And he was bombing on there, Ward, the way that we got used to when he was in peak form and injury-free. And if Rosenia could have got that on the goal, it would have been something to remember. As it is, it went wide, and Ward's efforts came to nothing. And there are 20 minutes left here tonight, unless Swindon can force extra time, of course. No doubt that Lenny Lawrence is watching this with tremendous interest, the Charlton manager. Will he be playing West Ham in a London derby in the 5th round, or have Swindon got other ideas as yet? Here's Ward. If West Ham get a second, it could be all over. Ince. Ward. Ince again. Rosenia. He rather took that away from Devonshire, perhaps nobody shouted. Forward by Jones, what a good-looking ball that is, and this is David Geddes. McKnight not certain by any means, and Swindon are piling people into the penalty area now. I really feel that should have been the goalkeeper's ball, but still Swindon press on. Foley, good tackle. Dix is playing as well as anybody for West Ham tonight. This is Ward, and now the break's on. And Kelly's free in the middle if he can be found. Potts has put it in. Kelly! Gittins just got to him. Can they keep the ball in play? Yes, Ward. Rosenia! Well, he might have had a hat-trick. Suddenly there's a sparkle back in West Ham's play. And since his goal, the centre-forward has been twice in a position to add to it. David Hockaday is going off, and the man he replaced tonight, Charlie Henry, is coming on to add to the strike force. It's his testimonial year, a very popular player with the fans at Swindon, Charlie Henry. Ince's header. Brady. And they've got two to his left and Ward to his right here. And Brady is in control for the moment in midfield. Ince with Dix to his left. And Ince goes again. What good pace by Ince. And the deflection by Ross McLaren deprived him of a shot on goal. Terrific speed he showed there, Paul Ince. Gale. Devonshire. That's too long. Henry with the touch to Foley. This is Geddes and Stronach. There's a call for a new ball. With 15 minutes of the 90 remaining. West Ham 1, Swindon 0. Calderwood and Cornwall facing the kicker. And Geddes in with McKnight, and it was Charlie Henry nearly on the line. The goalkeeper may have been struck by the challenge. It was Henry who came close, but I think Geddes may have fouled the goalkeeper. Just watch Alan McKnight here. Well, he certainly collided with him, put it that way, but Charlie Henry kneed the ball over. In fact, having just come on, that could have been a very effective first contribution by the substitute, but it came at him very quickly. That's Gittins again, had two pretty solid matches at the back for Swindon. Here's Foley. And Devonshire. Calderwood. Devonshire. Kelly. Devonshire's header. Rosenia and Gittins together again. Well played by Jones. Certainly has been impressive in midfield, the number 4 for Swindon. That's his cross, and Potts only half away, really. Dix. Forward again by McLaren. West Ham still having to chase back at times. Geddes. Foley. Good tackle by Paul Ince. Now Ward. Ince again, can come right once more. Bodin, that's a dangerous looking ball, and he's waited! Has Gale for McKnight, who wasn't really there. Not commandingly so, I have to say, and Charlie Henry could well have been in for the equaliser. There's a lack of communication somewhere back there for West Ham, that's for sure. And this man Jones is causing a lot of trouble. And there's Geddes. Strodder was with him then. Hit the flag, and so it's a throw-in. Jones was fouled by Devonshire, there's no question about that. And he certainly isn't giving up this tie by any means. Now, West Ham really have got some defending to do here. Bodin is going to curl the free kick in. Geddes, and the keeper's lost it. It's a free kick. He was allegedly fouled again in there. But Alan McKnight, a Jekyll and Hyde performance, one has to say. He's made a couple of timely saves, but he's also had the hearts of the West Ham fans in their mouths a couple of times, although there was definitely impact from David Geddes. And Kelly is being taken off and replaced by Alan Dickens. Dickens gets a big reception. A few anxious whistles now echoing around Upton Park from the West Ham contingent. This is McLaren. It's got to be long now for Swindon. But they've used that long high ball very effectively, and Devonshire has made a mistake. McLaughlin is in. Dix. I think he's been West Ham's best player, possibly, Julian Dix tonight. Had a very good match at left back. There's a minute to go, and John Gittins comes forward for Swindon. Foley. Touch of cramp there, maybe, and it's given West Ham the chance to get free on that side with Devonshire. Devonshire and Brady have again done the full 90 minutes. And says something about their stamina and their fitness. But they might have to do another 30 if they slip up at the back, West Ham. This is Ince. Devonshire on to Brady. It's Gittin's tackle. Well, the referee will now add on time for stoppages. It's Brady. Threatened to find Devonshire and then settled for nothing. Jones got it away. Oh, good ball. Bodin finding Cornwall, but it's too late for Swindon. It was a plucky fight by the second division side, who were in the fourth division only 3 years ago, remember, Swindon. But John Lyle's team come through thanks to Leroy Rosenior's 8th cup goal of the season. And it earns West Ham United a trip in the 5th round to Selhurst Park to play Charlton Athletic in what will be an all First Division London derby on the 18th of February. But it wasn't easy for West Ham, and in the end, they're pleased enough to walk off with a 1-0 victory in this 4th round replay.
Well, you're making a habit of scoring cup goals, Leroy.
That's right, and they're important ones.
8 of your goals out of 10 this season have been in cups. Any reason for that?
No, I don't know why it is, but I'm glad that we're through to the next round. Obviously, I'd like to score in the league as well, but if the goals come in the cups, I don't mind.
How good a view did you get of the ball tonight when it came across on the goal? Because there were 2 of the West Ham players in there first, weren't there?
That's right. I think Liam crossed it, and David Kelly got a touch, and Paul Ince got a little touch as well, and I was just standing on the far post waiting. And it was a nice, easy chance in the end. I just slid it in, and luckily it went inside the far post.
But a hard-won victory, really. Swindon did well over the 2 games.
They did. They're a very competitive side, and they did excellent over the 2 games. Their defence did very well tonight and made it hard for us. And we knew they were going to do that, and we were glad just to get through to the next round.
West Ham's cup form continues, and remember, we'll have the goals from Grimsby's notable victory at Reading tonight, plus a roundup of the other replay action of the week a little bit later in the programme. But cup night in Scotland as well, of course, replay night in the Scottish Cup 3rd round. Aberdeen 3, Dunfermline 1, 2 goals for Paul Wright and a 3rd by Charlie Nicholas to celebrate his recall by Scotland. Aberdeen now at home to Dundee United. Airdrie 0, Morton 1, Morton now travel to Meadowbank. Kilmarnock 0, Queen of the South 1, they're now at home to Alloa. Motherwell 2, Falkirk 1, Motherwell away to Hibernian. And Rangers 3, Wraith 0, no repeat of Saturday's heroics by Wraith. Rangers a home tie now against Stranraer, who beat Queen's Park by a 1-0. B&Q Scottish League 2nd Division, Brechin 3, Stenhousemuir 1, Brechin goes 2nd. And the Simod Cup, 3rd round, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Dean Coney's extra-time goal gives Queen's Park Rangers a quarter-final tie at Watford. And more news from Queen's Park Rangers. Today they broke the club's transfer record by signing the Liverpool midfielder Nigel Spackman for £500,000. Spackman, who's Trevor Francis's first signing, is likely to make his debut at home to Millwall on Saturday. No doubts that any fight fan needs to be in Las Vegas this month, the gambling town, hosting Bruno against Tyson, of course. But this weekend, Lloyd Hannigan's defence of his world welterweight title against Marlon Starling, a fight that you can see on BBC1 on Sunday afternoon. Now, we've been reading a lot in the press of how Hannigan has matured and how he's approaching this very important fight in a calm and disciplined fashion. But Harry Carpenter is the man on the spot and reports on the fight to come and the preparations of champion and challenger.
Vegas calls itself the fight capital of the world, and this month it will certainly be that. This is where Frank Bruno will challenge Mike Tyson on February the 25th. And this is where, this weekend, Britain's Lloyd Hannigan will defend his WBC World Welterweight title against Marlon Starling, the American former holder of the WBA title. It's all part of a welterweight double-header, because that WBA title is also up for grabs between Mark Freeland, the American former champion, and a South Korean. Now, for Hannigan, this fight is a dream come true. He's always said that the high spot of his career would be to top the bill at the famous Caesar's Palace. And that is precisely what he's about to do.
After 8 years as a pro, Starling came good in 1987 when he took the WBA title from the skillful Mark Breland, who was in front at the time in the 11th round.
Yes, he's dangerous, but so have been Gene Hatcher, Maurice Blocker, Janet Bumpers, you name them, a young kill.
He was on the same villager in Atlantic City, and of course he took that punch, which landed was thrown just after the bell. Did you actually see that happen? Were you able to watch that fight?
I was sitting with you, Harry.
Oh, so you were. So you came and joined me, didn't you? Yeah, I'd forgotten that. What did that mean to you when you saw Starling take a punch and didn't get up from it? Good. What did you feel?
Glad. I remember I was sitting with you, Harry. In the second round, I said to you that Marlon Starling is gone. And he went and got knocked out.
Once again, the challenger taking the play away from the champion. Oh my word, he's brought a punch over on the bell. And the count will continue. He's brought a punch out of nowhere and Starling's never going to beat this. He's counted out after the bell. He hit him on the bell, and under the rules, the count continues. That is quite unbelievable.
Now, have you got over that terrible night in Atlantic City in July when you were the victim of a punch that was clearly thrown after the bell by Molinares? Have you recovered from that shock?
What night?
You put it out of your mind, have you?
Yeah, you know, accident happens. I mean, no one got killed. I'm back fighting for the world title.
But it was a very unfortunate way to lose a title fight.
Well, I can't fight the fight and judge the fight and score the fight. I was victimized of politics of boxing, and that's what happened to Marlon Starling once again. I fought Mark Breland here in April. I beat him real good, and he got the decision. So I can't fight the fight and judge the fight. I'm just a boxer. I get paid to perform in the ring. I can't control what happens outside the ring.
Eddie Futch was telling me that he compares you to some of the great old champions of the past, like Robinson and Naples, those sort of welterweights. I mean, that's high praise.
That is high praise. Thanks for telling me. He never told me.
Well, I think Marlon Starling is a throwback to some of the great welterweights of the past. He's doing things in there today that a lot of the other fighters are not doing. I mean, he's using a lot of the tactics that fellas like Robinson and Napoles and Emil Griffith used back in those days.
And where do you rate Lloyd Hannigan? What do you think of him as a fighter?
I haven't seen a great deal of Lloyd Hannigan, but he impressed me mightily when he stopped Curry, whom I thought at that time was pound for pound the best fighter in the business.
28-year-old Hannigan was enjoying his second spell as world champion. He first won it from Don Curry in 1986. After 3 successful defenses, he lost it in 1987 on a technical decision to Jorge Vaca of Mexico. But just under a year ago, he took full revenge on Vaca at Wembley.
If ever you've seen a man determined to get his title back, this is it.
Vive la différence.
Nevertheless, my dearest Faith, I can't resist asking the question, why can't a woman be more like a man?
'Cause we are women.
Why is reasoning something women rarely do? Why isn't logic easier to apply? Maths and sums are tasks we find they barely do. Only getting the answer, if it hits them right in the eye, why can't a woman be more like a man? Men are so clever at patterns and shapes. Our minds are more agile, though they say we're like apes. We solve problems without a big fuss. Why can't women be like us?
'Cause we are women. We can beat you men by coming up with faster words than you. Hit a perfect note and sing a song with voices strong and true. Get our brains to work, our hands and knees with efficiency and speed. Look at her face with insight and grace. What more do we need? 'Cause we are winning. W-O-N-E-N. I say it again. Come on, girls. Winning.
The producer of that Battle of the Sexes and the psychologist who set the tests will be on tomorrow's Open Air. If you'd like to put a question or comment to them tomorrow morning...
In the best shape that I've ever seen him in, both physically and mentally. You can see he's bubbling.
All right, London, all right, England, all right, Mum, all right, Jennifer, I love you. I mean that. And the kids, Monique, Lloyd, Dwayne, Nicole, Ronaldo, and soon to come the other one.
I think he's at the prime of his career, and I don't think anybody would beat him right now. I don't think there's a welterweight in the world that we really have to worry about. But, you know, it's never over until it's over, and there's always an element of doubt that somebody's going to pull something out. And it is a fight. But on the face of it, I'd much rather sit in Hannigan's corner that night than Starling's.
Well, whether or not Las Vegas is the fight capital of the world, there's no disputing it is the gambling capital. And if you want to know the odds on a big fight, this is the place to come. I'm in a betting shop just across the road from where the fight will take place, and they're just putting the odds on the fight up now. Those figures on the board, translated into British betting, means that Starling is roughly 2-1 against, and Hannigan is 5-2 on, which means, in other words, that the wise money in Vegas is going on Hannigan. I might have a bit of that myself.
I'm sure his partiality won't be over-evident during our big fight coverage, which you can see on Sunday, BBC1 at 3 o'clock. Tonight, our first look at the World Skiing Championships in Vail, Colorado. It's the biggest event of the alpine season. We've seen already the difficulties posed for even the best of skiers, with Olympic champion Permin Zurbriggen crashing heavily in practice today. Men's and women's combined slaloms have already taken place, and the excitement is now building for the downhills. David Vine is at the centre of it all.
Vail and Beaver Creek, the twin resorts that have become America's showpiece of winter sport in just a few years, with the help of $1 billion, were once famous for being part of an area that turned down the offer of staging the Olympic Games. They said they weren't ready. Well, now they're not only ready for the big occasion, but have opened the 29th World Championships in a blaze of sunshine and blue sky over the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. The first of the 10 events to be held here over 2 weeks was the women's combined. Now that's where they have to ski a slalom and later a downhill to find the world champion all-rounder. The big favourite, not only for this event, but for 2 more, is Vreni Schneider of Switzerland, who's won all the World Cup slaloms and giant slaloms this season, rewriting the record books. In the Olympic Games in Calgary, she won 2 gold medals. But this is a racer who shuns the publicity. She's still the hometown girl. Right up to start time, she listens on her personal stereo, not to the latest #1 in the hit parade, but to the yodeling and accordions of Swiss mountain music. In the first of the 2 runs of the slalom on a steep and technically difficult course, there were a few notable exits, including Maria Walliser of Switzerland, who'll be defending her world downhill and supergiant titles here. She won the bronze in this combined event in Calgary, but not here. The best of the first round was Tamara McKinney of America, with Schneider over a second slower in 4th place. Second round, different course, the best go in reverse order. Olympic champion Anita Wachter of Austria, 8th on the first run. Oertli, Olympic silver medalist, Switzerland lead. She was only 600ths faster than Oertli on the first run. She hasn't got much in hand. Almost lost her place in the slalom squad last season, but she turned up late for a training camp. She must reach the checkpoint in 21.34, and she has. She's well up. Now she's in the lead by 0.38 at this stage of the course. Wachter, the Olympic champion from Austria, leading Oertli, the Olympic silver medalist from Switzerland. Pretty good season, 12th in the World Cup Slalom Championship, 43.16, and she's well in, over half a second. The Olympic champion leads here in the World Championships in the slalom, the first part of the combined. Oertli drops back. Wachter leads. Petra Kronberg, Austria, 20 in 3 weeks' time. 5th on the first run. Wachter leads. Kronberger about 0.39 faster than Wachter on the first run. That's her advantage. If she can ski this run as fast as Wachter, she'll take the lead. Hasn't had a good season, only one lowly place in World Cup. She's quite a good downhiller as well, and it's a combination of slalom skills and downhill skills. Now, how's she doing? Yes, that's good. Now, if Kronberg can keep this going with her downhill ability as well, it'll put her in good stead for the overall combined title. The downhill comes later. .42.98 to do. She must be in. Little slow finish, but she makes it by nearly a second. Kronberger leads from Wachter, the Olympic champion. They're both good downhillers as well. Austria 1 and 2. The faster skiers from the first round still to come, and here's Schneider. Look at this. Look how much it means to her. 4th on the first run, over a second down. And she was almost half a second slower than Kronberger, who's now the new leader. Start with a bid to win 3 World Championship races. Very turny at the top. And my goodness, Schneider is going for this. She's produced a few sizzling second runs in World Cup. But look at the aggression she's showing now. 21.45. She must reach the stop time in to take the lead from Kronberger. And look at that. 1.65 seconds. Schneider is flying. More turns on this course than there were on the first run. 2 runs over 2 different patterns of gates. And Schneider, 42.46. She'll be well inside. 2.36. That's an enormous gap. Schneider producing it in the second run, as she's done in the past, after a slightly disappointing first. Incredible piece of slalom skiing. Yugoslavia. 2nd on the first run. Still Tamara McKinney, the first round leader to come. She was half a second quicker than Schneider the first time down. Let's remind you the 2 times of the 2 runs of the slalom added together. So Olympic Games silver medalist at slalom, 4th in the World Cup Championship this season. Svet, Yugoslavia. Bit of a rebel of the slopes. She threatened to walk out of the Yugoslavian team, and as 2 of the coaches were dismissed, she's still skiing. The coaches have gone. There's her target to lead on the left. Oh, and there's only 100th in it. All that advantage she had on Schneider is already gone. It showed how quick Schneider was over the top part of this second run. Svet would have to produce something miraculous now. 40.73, the target. She's still a little way away. She won't do it. She gets second, but there's nearly a full second in it. It's still Schneider. Svet now in second place. McKinney the last to go. Tamara McKinney. Come back. She broke a leg. She's back here in the World Championships. She said before the race, only in your dreams do you beat Schneider. This is not a dream, this is reality. Leader of the first round. Over a second up on Schneider from that first round. The American girl on the slopes in the World Championships in America. Little mistake there. Second advantage as she started the run. Oh, she's lost half a second of it. She's still got half a second up, but half of the advantage gone over the first part of the course. McKinney, America, attacking Schneider. .41.27, she must do it in, and she won't. 1200 in it. And Schneider has got the slalom section of the combined, the first of the women's events in this World Championship. Tremendous try by McKinney, but Schneider has it after giving her team a little bit of a shock. McKinney nearly gave America the dream start. So it's Vreni Schneider winning by 1200 for the second, Tamara McKinney, United States, second, Svet of Yugoslavia, third. The downhill part to come later in the week. So the women's combined gold still very much in doubt, and you can see it in Sport on Friday, BBC 2 at 2:15. The first men's event is also the slalom section of the combined at Beaver Creek, and it's here that Marc Giardelli, Austrian-born but skiing for Luxembourg, sets out on his bid for all 5 gold medals. I wonder if that's an omen. Drawn number 5 for his first race. Like the women's event, there were a couple of big upsets on the first of the 2 runs. This is Armin Bittner of West Germany with Giardelli, the joint best slalom racer of the season. He was second in this combined slalom in the Olympic Games. But here on the men's opening day, a rather different story for Armin Bittner. The Olympic champion at combined is Hubert Strolz of Austria. He won't be world champion. Bittner gone and Strolz. The 31-year-old veteran Paul Frommelt of Liechtenstein, who won a World Championship bronze medal 12 years ago, was the best of the first run, with Giardelli third, only 600 slower. So here's the second run, different course, reverse order. At the top, Zurbriggen, 15th on the first run, 1.68 seconds down. Zurbriggen, who won a silver medal in the World Championships 2 years ago when Giardelli won the title in this combined event. Not much to shout about since then, though. Skied out in the Olympic Games combined slalom. Only one finish of note in all the slalom races of this winter's World Cup. So, tap of the ski balls for Zurbriggen on this second of the 2 runs of the slalom. A lot to make up. Says this is his most difficult discipline, and results have proved it, but there's more drive on this run. He's got over the flu he's had throughout the World Cup since Christmas. Skied the best of the season in the last World Cup race at Wengen. That was downhill. Time ticking away. Zurbriggen 15th on the first run. The first of those to go on this second, so no comparison. And that's a good run. That's much better. 46.83 for the second run, 138.47 for the 2 runs. That's a bit more like the old Zurbriggen. Downhill section to come. And he should excel at that. Ole Furuseth, Norway, 22. 6 on the first run. Kola of Switzerland still leading. He's had a tremendous season in World Cup. 4th best slalom skier. Never won a race, and he's never done better than he's done this season. Never out of the top 10 in 6 slaloms. Norwegians have benefited from Austrian training help. Let's see what happens here. Yes! Nearly a quarter of a second for Furuset. Oh, that is so difficult, that little section there as they come over the lip. The vertical section of gates. Swing again, 47.73 for Furuset, leading at the checkpoint. He must be there. Yes, well in. It's nearly a full second. Skied it well all the way down, and Kola drops in the 2nd place. The Norwegian leads. Never mind about number 13. 5th on the first run. He's only got 0.04 of a second to play around with. That's the lead he had on Furuset on that first run. So he's got to ski this run in almost the same time, or a little bit better, if he's to take over. Target to get to this point in, and he's outside it. He's 0.03 outside it. Sweden taking on Norway. Mentioning Sweden, if you're wondering about the great Stenmark, he is skiing here, but he's in the slalom proper, not the combined, where you had to ski a downhill as well, and Stenmark wants nothing of that. Meanwhile, Nielsen, 46.81. And outside it by 100th of a second. 100th of a second separating him from Furuset of Norway. So it's still Norway leading from Sweden. Still the top men of the first round to come, and here's Jordan, world combined champion. First of the 5 disciplines he'll ski here in America. Slalom leader of the season. He was joint with Bittner, but Bittner has gone out. 3rd on the first run. He was just a 10th quicker than Furuset. The big mistake by Giardelli, right at the very top. How he got round that. He is still all right, but how he got round that 3rd or 4th gate, I'll never know. And that will have cost him time. He certainly will have lost the advantage he had over Furuset. Yes, he's 0.31 down now. Two slalom wins in World Cup. A second, a couple of 4th places, only 1 fall, and now he's got to hit this in 46.87 after the big mistake at the top, and he won't, and he's outside it by nearly 3/4 of a second. Only 3rd for Giardelli. Still Norway and Sweden. Paul Frommer, 31 years old. Bronze medalist in the World Championships back in 1978. One of the most determined racers in the sport. The leader from the first run. He says, I'll never give up. Still, it's Furuset of Norway, leading from Nielsen of Sweden, Giardelli 3rd. Only Frommer can change that now. To stand any chance in the combined, he's got to be right at the top in the slalom section, because he's not a downhiller, and he's going very wide here. Down by that figure on the left. The Norwegian and the Swede at the bottom, watching the veteran from Liechtenstein. See if he can do it, says the public address announcer, and it's a big job, and I don't think he can. No, he can't. And Frommer drops right back into 5th place, nearly a second down. Looks at the board, says what he thinks about it, and Norway have it. Ole Furuset wins his first ever slalom race, and this is in the World Championship combined. Look at the gap, 100th of a second. The last time that happened was in a World Cup race 20 years ago. Giardelli third, about 3/4 of a second behind. Zurbriggen 11th, over 1.5 seconds down. Well, that race could well be regarded as a warm-up for the biggest and the most important event of the championships, the men's downhill proper. It's also in the mountains in this lovely area of Beaver Creek, but it's over the full distance, more than 2.25 miles. And you can see it this Saturday live on BBC2 at 10 to 6. The men's downhill for the championship of the world. The defending champion is Peter Müller of Switzerland, and he raced the course better than anyone 12 months ago when he was here for the World Cup.
Got over a second in hand. If he skis this as quick as Giardelli, he'll be well in, just a little open there, worried about the bottom part of the course, but that's good. He used up a little bit, but Müller leads by 3/4 of a second.
Since then, the centennial run here has had a facelift. In the summer, they sent the bulldozers in to redesign Rattlesnake Alley, the feature point of this run. The walls are steeper, the entrance more acute, the whole course has been set much tighter. Müller has been climbing it on foot and racing it on skis whenever he's had the chance.
I think it's a good idea, and when the snow conditions are faster than last year, then we must go perhaps besides a little bit up, and then it's perhaps like a luge and very spectacular. And so I think it's a good idea that we can use new things in downhill sport.
Permin Zurbriggen, the teammate and great rival Müller beat in the championships 2 years ago, but then lost out to in the Olympic Games in Calgary, doesn't share Müller's view. He says it's not difficult enough, not a true World Championship course. Out here, Zurbriggen, without a downhill win since he won the Olympic title early last year in Calgary, has looked relaxed and not concerned about what's to come on Saturday. But today might have changed all that. In windy conditions and flat light, Zurbriggen was 6th to go in the first of 2 scheduled training runs. He'd already set up the best times in 2 runs yesterday and said he wanted one more and then relax for a while. Spruce saddle jump is the first big problem on this course, and today Zurbriggen found out why. Watching in the stands on a giant video screen were Zurbriggen's father, mother, and girlfriend, Monica. Zurbriggen, who's always admitted he had problems on jumps, split on the landing, and from then on just tumbled and rolled down a very steep part of the course. And just look at the wind. Zurbriggen, obviously upset and shaken. It was quite a few moments before he made his way rather gingerly down the course. The training was stopped just as Peter Müller was due to go.
I saw the pictures from the Austrian video, and he had made a mistake. He was jumping a little bit too much to the left side, and then by the landing he would in the air go to the other side, and then the ski was going out and he was fall. First the trainer said he has nothing. I don't know more. He must make concentration for a second round.
The wind on the course got worse and training was off for the day. Later, Zurbriggen's father said Permin wasn't injured, just shaken up. He thought he would train again tomorrow. So far, the Swiss team officials haven't issued a formal statement. News of the Bell brothers? Well, Graham is recovering from a stomach complaint, thought to be a grumbling appendix, and Martin has put in one good run, 11th, the first time down the course. But it's not only Müller, Zurbriggen and the Bells we'll be watching on Saturday. The racer of the season is Marc Giardelli, Austrian-born but skiing for Luxembourg. Giardelli won Kitzbühel, the first of the Wengen runs, and then on the second day on the classic Laberhorn, produced a performance which had everyone gasping.
Tremendous line. All the confidence, all the ability. Little jump into the finish there. He's winning 2:40. I am number one, he says.
And out to prove it in the World Championships, which will be popping up regularly in the schedules over the next week, notably in Sport on Friday and in Grandstand. But the men's downhill, you can see that live at 5:50 on BBC2 on Saturday evening. Well, it seems that most of the cricketing world is already assuming that Ted Dexter will be the next chairman of the England selectors, although the appointment is some little way off being made official. But the approach has been made, discussions held, and the former England captain is talking quite freely about the challenges of the job. He joined us in the Sportsnight studio earlier this evening, and I asked him if he saw the role as being wider than that of simply test selector. Put it like that.
Yes, I think what happened before was that you had selectors put forward, they then selected their chairman, and although they did have, in fact, a wide role and quite a wide brief, people only knew them just as selectors. The idea now is that somebody should look at the whole process of putting an England team in the field, how they get there, how they're trained, how they're paid, how they're motivated, how they're disciplined. Somebody to be in charge of the whole operation, and that is a very exciting prospect, which I would love to do.
So individually, you might anticipate that you would have perhaps greater powers than Peter May before you?
I think I would be seen to have greater powers anyway. I think he was very able, and I think a lot went on behind the scenes one didn't know about.
Fairly dispiriting summer, wasn't it, last year? What are the specific areas which really need to be worked on urgently?
We've been unlucky with the bowlers. We've had a lot of injuries. We had good young crop of bowlers just coming up. Gladstone Small, Paul Jarvis, Philip de Freitas.
Indeed, yes.
And we got in a muddle. They seemed to be really coming through in Australia last time. And then what with injuries and other difficulties, suddenly they stopped. And we were left with a void. Now they've got every opportunity to come through again. But bowlers are the greatest priority. We've still got some senior, very talented batsmen. We've got Gooch, Lamb, Gower, Gatting, really plenty of runs there, but we've got to bowl the Australians out.
One player I know who might be eager to catch your eye during the course of the season is Ian Botham, now hopefully back on the way towards fitness. What future international role do you think Ian might have?
Well, I've been very interested to see him on the sports programme with Coleman. Yeah. He looks fit to me.
He's on form there,
he looks as though he's lost a bit of weight, which wasn't before time. As a bowler, you must have doubts after his back injury, but he's always had the potential to be a batsman in his own right. And if he really works at his batting, I know the Australians will be absolutely terrified that he might come in and biff them all over the place. You know, I hope he gets fit. I hope he gets some runs and gets into contention. It would be great.
The captaincy might also be in your mind as an area of concern. Without asking you to be too specific on that, are you clear-sighted about what you want from the captaincy?
I know we have a problem. Graham Gooch was picked to do the tour to India, which didn't take place. He's not an experienced captain. In fact, he started to captain Essex, lost his form, and gave the captaincy away. I think there's a lot of ground to be covered there, a lot of issues, but the new season will develop and things will happen, and we need a good man who can stay the course.
Would you think that the area of discipline also needs some work, or is that just a topic that predominates in the minds of the media?
So discipline on the field really shouldn't be a problem. And if somebody just has a rush of blood to the head and does something silly, I think it should be seen as that, and that they get a smack on the wrist and a fine, and that's the end of it. Off the field, the charge of bringing the game into disrepute is always a much harder area, and I think each thing is taken on its merits. But by and large, if people behave in a reasonable way and it's not offensive and it's not illegal and it's not immoral, then I think there should be certain latitude for, you know, young, healthy men who can occasionally stray over the border.
Ted Dexter may be chairman-elect, and the first-class counties meet on March the 7th to discuss and maybe ratify that appointment. We'll return to FA Cup soccer now, rounding up last night's fourth-round replays and the other replay from tonight, which was at Elm Park, Reading, 3rd Division Reading, against 4th Division Grimsby. And a goalless first half dominated by the 3rd Division side, but in the first minute of the second half, Grimsby ahead. Midfielder Sean Cunnington beating Gernon and hammering home from 18 yards his third goal of the season, and look at the delight among the Grimsby supporters. Well, that brought Reading to life. They hit the bar, they had a shot cleared off the line. Then in the 76th minute, Steve Moran hammered home the equaliser. He'd come on as substitute, and what a spectacular goal to mark his entrance. Trevor Senior providing the assistance. One apiece, but another substitute decided it just as extra time was beckoning. Kevin Jobling, the man who spotted a slack moment in the Reading defence, picked up that back pass, dribbles round Gary Phillips, and he's the hero, giving 4th Division Grimsby a 5th round tie, the holders Wimbledon. So Grimsby, the giant killers, and among the cup favourites involved last night, Everton. Tony Gubber watched their replay with Plymouth at Goodison.
So Plymouth with this throw just inside the Everton half. It's fallen to Summerfield and Marker. Back to Summerfield, who hit it very well on the volley, and Neville Southall had to get a hand to that, and Plymouth threatened the Everton goal in the first 60 seconds. Ball headed back by Marker to Kevin Summerfield, who really struck it well, and Southall had to save. Sharps underneath it. Again, that's fallen to a Plymouth player. Nicky Marker, well forward. Summerfield, busy in midfield, and a good ball for Tynan. No offside. He gets there. Oh, it was a poor finish. Well, the shouts of exasperation seem to be getting through to Everton. Show more in these last 2 or 3 minutes than they did in the first 20. Snowden to cross. Away by Hodges. Watson got higher. Sharp, Cotty, and Sheedy's arriving as well. Hook back in. Oh, yes! Sharp! Graham Sharp's first goal for Everton since his return after that hernia operation. And that coming, well, Everton will feel at a crucial time, because they'd had 3 narrow escapes in their own goal mouth, and the ball hooked back by Sheedy. Sharp was there with no challenge from a defender to head wide of Alan Miller. Everton ahead 1-0. Summerfield wanted a bit too long on the ball and bustled over by Graham Sharp. And as Graham Sharp looks on, an ominous sign for Plymouth as number 7 Kevin Summerfield is stretchered off with his legs strapped together. Just under 10 minutes to go to half-time. Alan Miller's goal kick. Nicky Marker. This is Sheedy for Everton. Trevor Stephen and Vanden Howe. They'll give it Cotty's little break. Mark Smith with him, where he's got round the defender. Good ball across the face of goal. Pat Nevin makes it 2-0. Well, Nevin turning to congratulate Tony Cotty. It's Nevin's first goal of the season, the first in 16 games that he's played since joining Everton, but the debt belongs to Tony Cotty. Such a terrific little turn in the penalty area, and to get around a defender of the experience of Mark Smith, cut it across the face of goal. Miller got a hand to it, but in the end it was easy for Nevin, and it's Everton 2-0. Unbeaten in 1989 so far, Plymouth. This is the 6th game. Having won 3 and drawn 2, and Sharp! Beautiful glancing header to give Graham Sharp his 2nd goal of the match. Cotty finds Nevin. Rozelle in front of him. Snowden. They give it Sheedy! 4-0. The ball knocked long by Snowden. Sheedy watched it all the way, and a clinical finish.
And confident Everton were due to face the winners of the all-second division tie, Barnsley against Stoke. Barnsley ahead after just 4 minutes. Joyce with the header and McDonald finishing it off. And Barnsley, who scored 3 times in the first half hour on Saturday, were on their way again. But Stoke this time held their composure. No surprise when Begri's cross gave Dave Bamber the equaliser. So silencing a large part of the 21,000 crowd, Barnsley's biggest for 2 years. Barnsley's winner, however, prompted celebrations of a varied kind. The applause as much for the build-up as anything else. David Curry here with the back heel, Steve Cooper with the winner. And Cooper, a former gymnast, and the talent has never left him. So it's Barnsley against Everton in round 5. Colchester, bottom of Division 4, they've worked miracles bringing 3rd Division Sheffield United back to Layer Road, but it wasn't going to be Colchester's night. That was quite clear from the outset. In just the 2nd minute last night, Roberts set up the goal for Brian Deane to put Sheffield United in charge. It never became a rout, though. There'll be some embarrassment, however, in the Colchester defence about the Sheffield goal that finally put the tie beyond their reach in the second half. Walton in the Colchester goal had an excellent game, was hardly to blame for the confusion with Hetzke, but let in Deane for his second. Defeat, but in the 2 matches, Colchester had hardly looked like the side propping up the league. And Sheffield United now at Norwich in round 5. Biggest prize on offer last night, a home tie with Manchester United. That awaited the winners of Bournemouth and Hartlepool. Gerald Sinstadt reports.
Hartlepool United backed into their Bournemouth hotel with no sense of undue humility. On Saturday, the 4th Division club had given their 2nd Division opponents a fright, and they knew it. The relaxed mood before the replay was given an edge of excitement by the 5th round draw, the winners at home to Manchester United. Star of the snooker table was Saturday's goalscorer, Brian Honour.
Just helps us relax a little bit before the game. Like, I'm not normally that good. I must just been good in front of the cameras. Like.
Did you feel you did enough to win up there?
Yes, I think the feeling of the dressing room is one of disappointment. Like, you know, but the manager's picked this up like and says we've got a chance tonight. Like, we'll all be giving it a go anyway.
Even before Bournemouth scored, Hartlepool's optimism was looking shaky. And after 25 minutes, Paul Baker totally lost contact with his goalkeeper. It was a demoralising own goal for the man whose penalty beat Bristol City in the 3rd round. They say lightning doesn't strike twice, but 10 minutes later that's just how it felt to Hartlepool's defenders, though this time Bournemouth played a part too. From Luther Bissett's pass and Ian Bishop's cross, Trevor Aylott's shot ricocheted off a post and has to be debited to goalkeeper Robert Moverley. But the night wasn't all gloom and misfortune for Hartlepool. Their own scoring was way above 4th Division calibre. This is Joe Allen making it 2-1. Suddenly the long journey for a surprisingly large following from Hartlepool began to seem worthwhile. But Bournemouth had an instant reply. Richard Cook's cross helped on for a brisk volley from right-back Mark Newson.